Welcome to Something to Talk About. Thank you for having us in your living rooms today. We are at King's Restaurant, and I am with a group of ladies, high influencers. Why not? Why not? The Consul General from the FSM. This is Teresa Philippin. You have you have like a rock star status in Guam because you're pretty much everywhere. Welcome again. It's nice to see you. I know this is exhausting. This group, here's the thing, that you guys are very understated, and I recognize that being in front of television cameras and the public is a little intimidating, but I'm here to make it fun for you. Dreama Asara is here with the FSM Association of Guam, is that correct? Mm-hmm. And then this is Nadine Sungeni, right? Sungeni, also with the FSM Association of Guam. It's nice to have you ladies here.
Thank you for having us.
We are going to actually talk about a couple of things, FSM Independence Day, and then there's a great project for students that's coming up just to honor their art and the talent of our youth in Guam. I cannot, though, have this conversation without first addressing to the Consul General this tragic situation in Yap. And I know that there's not much that you can say in official capacity, but personally, this strikes home because, first of all, it is your home. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you did know the former the Attorney General.
Acting Attorney General. Thank you, Patty, for having us. And like you said, it's a tragic incident, and one that is heartfelt all over the small island of Yap. Like I was telling you when we were off camera, it's a population of 11,000 community members, very close-knitted, and when something like this happens, it's like something out of television. Though I can't speak on, in an official capacity to what had happened or, the investigation or anything like that, it hit close to home because the village that she lives is my village. And that's where all of these things happen. That's where this whole thing happened. When I was in Yap, I saw her walking her dogs on most of the, in the evenings. And these are mostly stray dogs that she adopts and takes care of them. And it's for a lack of a better word, it's really sad and it's still unbelievable for something like this to happen.
She sounds very much appreciated and very much loved by people who knew her. I was interested, this morning I said, and I don't know if I was out of line by saying it, because I've only been to Yap once, but it was enough for me to understand that, does it feel like there's an age of innocence that has been lost because gunshots rang out in a village in a sleepy state where people normally do not hear that kind of ambience?
They didn't know that there were gunshots. The neighborhood, they heard the 3 gunshots. I was talking to her closest neighbor is a senator in the Yap State Legislature, and even him didn't know that it was that what they heard were gunshots. That's how small and how naive the community is when it comes to this degree of violence.
Does that shake you?
It does. Yeah. It does. Literally. Who takes shotguns and just goes to somebody's house and she doesn't deserve to die this way. She's a prosecutor for the state, and of course, she convicts criminals. But for something like this to happen,
it's way out of what your perspective would have been.
Way out of the norm.
Sure.
for Yap. We don't know who the perpetrators were or is. I've heard that the investigation is ongoing. We have U.S. law enforcement coming in to assist with the local law enforcement in trying to resolve the case as soon as possible. The family, she just recently married to a pilot that has flown me to the outer islands of Yap. So I know these people very closely. Rochelle, we've sat across each other in the courtrooms. We've tried cases together in the courtrooms in Yap. So it's really hit close to
very close to home. To understand the enormity and the weight of this. And its impact on Yap State is that it has reached the highest levels of government, with the ambassador also taking a great interest in the investigation.
Yes, she is of course a U.S. citizen. that was that applied for a position in Yap, and she was hired at first as an assistant attorney general for the Yap State Attorney General's office, and then last January with the new administration coming in, she was the acting attorney general. They don't have a full-fledged AG for the government yet. So she's been, in that capacity for the last several months, and in the people that I've talked to, she's doing the job that she came to Yap to do.
Yeah, and it sounds like she's doing a job that becomes increasingly harder as crime rears its ugly head these days. My condolences to all of the people who have known her or had contact with her, both personally and professionally. But thank you for that. I appreciate that you take the time to at least make that known. The greater good is that the FSM Association of Guam, which I'm so happy to have met representatives from, because I'm always so curious about, and Teresa knows this, I have a great interest in the conversations that are produced that will allow great things to happen, that build the community and take away some of these bridges and misunderstandings and gaps. Is the FSM Association of Guam, is that a big organization? How many members are there?
All the FSM citizens on Guam.
All the FSMs. Well, that's a large number. Yeah. That's a large number. What can just to set this up? What does the association do? What's the mission? Who's with the bathroom? Is that you or is that Nadine? Is that you? They're both a little bit shy, so I'm gonna have to really pull this one out of them. Okay. What's the mission of the association?
The mission of the association. Oh,
yeah.
The mission of the association is really to inspire unity amongst our citizens and to find ways to help
each other.
Yeah.
each other.
Well, yeah. I mean, as in associations, as they go, when you put together groups of people, the common goal is to make life easier for everybody. Is that a little? Could you tell me? Is it more of a difficult thing to do in the climate that we're in right now, or does the job get easier to bring in members of the community?
Yeah, well, I will add that Dreama and I are like one of the newest members of the association,
Okay.
and this really started because we grew up a few years in Guam, and there's been a lot of things going on, and we felt that we were at a place where we can contribute based on our work experience and going to school and things like that. So we wanted to come and help the existing members that have over the years changed, because Micronesia, FSM and Micronesia is just such a diverse place.
Sure.
There's no real way you can have I cannot represent all of Chuk, even though I'm from Chuk, because there's the different islands in the lagoon, and there's the outer islands close to Yap, and so it's so diverse. But then just being able to, as you say, come together for this common goal of finding things that will help our community members that needs the most through our experiences and trainings and things like that.
Is it predominantly Chukis, or are there others that come from Kosrae?
In the association?
In the association.
It's all over for FSM states. But recent meetings has been really predominantly Chukis because of what we're trying to address or approach, the approaches that we're planning to go into the communities and do outreach, educate people on what's happening, what can we do to better our living standards, and basically stay out of trouble and I don't want to say this, but get off the bad image in the media.
And I remember that there was, during the time that there was this conversation early into what has become this infamous assault situation in Manila, that I think that after several meetings, I recognized in you a frustration that the way this conversation was going was unfair. Yes. And I completely agreed with you at the time that it was unfair. It was targeting a specific group of people. And they were really described as just the bad ones.
Yeah.
And I caution in the conversations that ensued on the radio people to not speak that way about another community or another race, only because there are children who listen to these conversations. And
Exactly.
these babies are bullied in the classrooms
Exactly.
because the larger conversation is that they're bad.
Look
That's
at
dangerous.
look at the recent incidents in at JFK and Pigeon High. And I met with the superintendent after that, and I've met with some of the students, some of my Canadian students that goes to these two campuses, and what they're saying is, fellow students have their opinions before coming onto campus because of what they see on the news, what their parents tell them, what they hear.
There's a stigma.
Conversations at home. So that's why the message I keep trying to to get out there is be careful on how we react to situations because it does have rippling effects and on a lot of
There's a lot of innocent bystanders.
innocent
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
and we have children in schools that are just getting the end part of all of this because they're being you're Micronesian, therefore you're all of this is attached to where you came from and your heritage, and it's not fair.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
And what we're going to do in this next, we're going to take a real quick break so you can eat your French toast, you can eat your cup sandwich.
Can I just add something to
Yeah,
our
sure.
purpose? Or so what we also want to focus on is to promote or create some kind of goodwill
Yeah.
relationship with the surrounding community.
Yeah. Good point. And that's exactly what we're going to do here, lightening up the conversation because there are certain projects and events that are
success
taking
stories.
place and success stories.
Stories.
All right, that's
Yeah.
where we're going to go. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. There's something to talk about. Good job.
Yeah.
You have to talk about it. Welcome back to Something to Talk About. We are with the FSM Consul General, Teresa Philippin, and from the FSM Association of Guam, we've got Dreama. What a beautiful name, Dreama. It's like really Dreama, right? That's how you spell it. Was that made for like the word dream, or was that something?
My
Different.
mom said she made it up,
Oh, okay.
but I've met a lot of other dreamers.
Oh.
So,
Well, let's not call your mom out on the local television. And then Nadine Zangeni is also with us. Thank you for coming along.
Thank you.
We wanted to change the conversation into a positive and more productive. I use the word productive a lot because you can be counterproductive on this topic. But I think it's such a cool idea to tap into the some of the skill sets and some of the talents of the youth to be able to catapult them into finding a place where they can be celebrated.
Right.
And I think that's important I think you were making a point that you sat home and watched, and most people in the community tried to absorb this Mangilau attack situation and didn't come forward, but that wasn't for a lack of wanting to.
Yeah.
It was for
A lot of it is not wanting to. The best way to translate it would be disturb the peace or to roughen waters, just to kind of try to handle it by ourselves and try to not really put too much attention because there are things that happen that we can't control and we're embarrassed about, or we can't speak to or try to get others or convey our messages across.
Right.
So what do you do is just not participate and just hope that your child will be successful on their own.
not call too much attention to it.
Yeah.
And allow it to take a natural
well,
course.
actually, Patty, it's also kind of something cultural for us because we grow up and they tell us, girls have to be timid.
Girls have to be timid.
Yeah, the more timid you are,
I would hardly call you timid.
It's a tricky,
It's a tricky
word.
balance.
Yeah, because just like Guam, Chuk, and the other parts of Micronesia, it's a matrilineal society. So a lot of power and wealth comes from the women's side. So it's just a balance of how women honor the men, and in part the men honor women by them having the titles of the land. It's a very complicated thing, structure, and so maybe it's one way of kind of
But
having
it's a structure that is predominantly at home, in the household, in the small communities, in the small villages. But when it's out in the public, that's where the timidness comes in. That's where the rearing of being timid comes in. you're hardly taught to be a public person, be out there advocating for something or be passionate about something. You're not taught that.
You're not taught that, and you don't want to embarrass
And
your
you don't
family
want to
by
embarrass
being
your family and your male
outspoken.
relatives by
Yeah.
being that outspoken and
I
being
see.
out there. And in this, I really like her choice of word. In this space, all of that is changing, because we're seeing that if we don't step up, who will? So we're taking.
So does the woman have to be the face of the stepping out?
Not necessarily. We don't want to make it a gender issue.
Yeah.
It's who can. It's who can step up. Who can, if you see a situation happening, if you have the capacity or the ability to be able to step in and see how that situation can be resolved, gender doesn't have anything to do with it. You be that person that steps up to the plate. And I'm really fortunate. I mean, the FSM Consular Office has been in collaboration with the FSM Association, has been able to gather people together when I'm talking people in capacities of Nerine and Grima, who has a wealth of experience of living on Guam, seeing all of this happening, and their work has put them in a place where they're able to provide the resources that we need to be able to execute some of these plans that we're putting together. So that's the whoever can steps up and do it.
And we are soliciting for those people. I like how you write this. We're talking about this was your brainchild, the Micronesian Heritage Student Project contest. And I like the qualifications. Do you identify as a Micronesian? So you don't necessarily have to be Micronesian. You don't have to necessarily come from the FSM.
Yeah, it's such a tricky word to Micronesia. I'm even taking a whole Peoples and Cultures of Micronesia course at UOG because it's an enriching experience for myself. Like, how do I define that? And then just seeing how the rest of the people on the island identify as a Micronesian, and then as a way to be creative or give them different platforms to express that is through this contest where they can do a 2D or 3D dimension or 2 or 3 dimensional art or film, or then writing either poetry, essays, whatever. And I think a Micronesian student organization advisor already called me yesterday. She goes, "Can we do like a PSA with my students?" I was like, "That's beautiful."
Whatever art form you choose,
Yeah.
whatever expression that you want. And what are you hoping who are you hoping to gather?
Well, I would just really love for we'd love for all the students in the middle school and high school, public and charter schools to participate. But I think the intent was to gather all these beautiful work and have them displayed at the FSM Independence Day on November 2nd, 10 a.m. at the EPAO. But to have it on display and for the other community members or each other to learn from, because it's everyone's so different. The experiences are different, and it's learning about the different experiences that you get to really see the value of people around you, and then using those valuable resources in creating communities.
You're also drawing out, I think, when in art form or in literature, you're drawing the expressions from the youth that would otherwise probably not dare speak up, right?
Yeah.
And then
To this
also
form.
for me, it's I grew up in Saipan and Hawaii and Guam, so I'm used to the Western sense of education, and so this is a way to highlight also some of the Chukis or the Micronesian cultural heritage of and traditions of oratory, stories, and the importance of songs and chants, and that's a way to kind of touch base on that and to use
to
that.
validate, really to validate that all of that is within all of us in our island cultures, right?
Yeah. And then just kind of opening it up to technology and innovation for the kids to express
with
that.
it, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of like how we're integrating the traditional sense of our heritage, but then also the innovation behind, the media or whatever it is.
I think that the FSM Independence Day is a huge forum or a great place to really celebrate and get the media to tell these stories over the period before and after. What's that scene going to look like at the Independence Day celebration?
We want to create a platform where all FSM citizens or Micronesians, anybody, it's open to anybody, would come out on November 2nd to Ipao Park at 10 o'clock in the morning. We've invited some honored guests from the local government to come and share with us the FSM independence. You know, we celebrate all kinds of independence. We celebrate July 4th, we celebrate all. But we've forgotten that we too are an independent sovereign nation. And we're here, and there's a lot of us here, and we want to come out and celebrate together. We're also going to be showcasing traditional dances from the 4 island states.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and we have activities that are planned. That, you know, it's going to be pretty fun.
Yeah.
I hope
Fun and educational.
educational days activity, and the most important thing about it is the coming together and unifying as an island nation, and work together in our hopes and our goals of, you know, improving our living situation.
Do
here
you
in Guam.
think that you are also dealing with members of the FS community, the younger boys and girls that were born American citizens and who have been westernized and don't have any idea of what it's like to
Yes.
live in these states?
And that's the beauty of the question is kind of giving flexibility for, because I'm a U.S. citizen, but I identify as being Micronesian or from Chuk, right? But then that doesn't mean I can't claim that heritage or that tradition that I identify with. So, as for me, those students that fit that label, I guess, they are still open to participate. And that for me breaks barriers of how do you look or identify a Chukese or a Micronesian? There's really no way. And this is a way to be it's a way to be open and to be open to the fact that we can be as modern or we can be as traditional or we can be both.
A nice balance of both.
Yeah.
And to make it even more dynamic, FSM is made up of 4 different states who have their own language,
Individual cultures.
own culture,
Yeah.
and so bringing it together or uniting it, on that day.
It's a great challenge in and of itself.
Well, I tell you, the contest is such a great idea. I contacted the office as soon as I saw the news release because I wanted to get in early so that this program can play all throughout the week and we can do some exposure. Is there a best place for people to go? Is it this email here, or is there a? Can you go? You can go to Facebook.
You can go to Facebook.
That might be the easiest, right?
The
Facebook.
office contact is on there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so this is open to all middle or high school. Now, what do they win? Because everybody's going to know.
Yeah, so we have some cash prize and gift prizes for the top three for each of
Okay.
the division.
Yeah. And so you've been soliciting.
Yeah, we like any support to help
this,
us.
please. Do not say no. Yeah.
We are seeking support for, the stuff that we need sponsorships for.
Okay.
We've been sending out solicitation letters to different organizations, but it would be really nice if someone, just feels compelled to assist and
Make her
goes to our
job easier.
Facebook.
I know this conversation got a bit deep, but you can't not go deep to come out on the lighter side. And so we will do anything and everything possible to help push this along. And I would love to have you guys on my radio show. I think you guys underestimate yourselves as public speakers.
It'd be really cool too. We were planning to have the winners actually present at the FSM Independence
Read
Day.
their content,
So it'd be
their
cool,
essay.
like if there's other media that's interested to actually
always,
hear
yeah,
from them,
there's always.
their perspective, not give a story about them, but them give the story.
I
That's
love it.
something we
I
have to
absolutely
keep
love it.
promoting or supporting.
We'll do that. Thank you, ladies, so
Thank
much.
you
I
so much,
appreciate that. That will do it for this episode of Something to Talk About. Thanks a lot for joining us.